What up, YouTube? It's Kurt here. Alright, so today we're gonna do a competitive train build here. And here's the thing. Alright, I'm gonna take this and play it at a regional. And I took a version of it to the last regional. I went 4-4. And that's pretty good for a regional, but the thing is, my build wasn't quite as good as it needed to be at that time. And also, I didn't know, I wasn't as skilled in terms of, like, regional play. I was still kind of early on that. So, I have tested the living shit out of this deck and added pieces here and there until I found the combination that worked best. So, with this build, fair warning, this build it's built to take on the meta. That's what you need to understand. You actually have a really good matchup against certain decks. You have a pretty good matchup. With this build especially, you have a good matchup against Thunder Dragons. You have a good matchup against Sky Strikers. You have a decent matchup against Salamangreat. And you have a winnable matchup against True Draco. And what's the other one? Subterra Guru. Yeah, Guru Control. The thing is, like, you just have to side appropriately. So it is kind of weak to Draco and Guru, but if you side appropriately, you can rip off some wins. And that is something important to keep in mind. Another talking point, I'll get into the deck profile very shortly, I promise. One thing you need to understand is trains aren't the greatest deck in terms of card advantage, but it can actually grind a little bit, and I don't think people know how to play the grind game with it all too well. Alright, so we'll get into the deck profile here, and I will do this, like, one-handedly so we get to see everything that's going on. So bear with me, the camera will be a little bit shaky. Alright, start with monsters. Standard, 3 Night Express Knight, that's standard. Obviously, that helps you combo. 1 Bullet Train. Alright, so the reason why I'm playing 1 Bullet Train is Bullet Train is searchable. It's searchable through your urgent schedule, and it's searchable through your spells. The thing is, if you hard draw Bullet Train, sometimes it's just a brick because you need another card in order to activate this effect. That's why I actually don't like seeing it in my hand, and it's one thing. I think if you play multiple copies, it's gonna hurt your chances of getting that precious OTK, because that is the goal of this deck. It is to OTK, but you do want backup plans if you can. But, yeah, the best way to go about it is to aim for the OTK and build the deck that way, and then make the grind game your backup plan. Alright, so then 3 Dairy Crane, potentially the best card in the deck just because it summons itself and it gets a monster destruction. That's pretty awesome. Alright, so then also the other best card of the deck, we have Railroad Stampede. Obviously, like, so if you urgent schedule, a lot of times if you don't have a play where you can have 2 Dairy Crane on field and then get two pops on the board with that, well, then you'll just send, if you can't do that or you don't want to do that, there's no 2 targets that you want to get rid of, then you'll get Express Train, Bullet Train on board. That way, at the end of the turn, you link those away or you XYZ them away, and then you get this back in your hand. Because you want this back in your hand so you can kind of, just reboot its effects for the next turn that you're going to get. Alright, the tech. Alright, Cyberstein, very risky tech, but the reason why I play Cyberstein, obviously you need as much Dairy Crane fodder as you can, and there's a couple other plays, like, sometimes your opponent wants you to go first if they realize you're playing an OTK. Well, sometimes you Cyberstein into Last Warrior from Another Planet, and I'll show you that card later, and that's just ridiculous. Sometimes, if you're not going into time, that card just straight up wins you games. It wins you, if you're playing Thunder Dragons, they can't do anything. If you're playing Salamangreats, most of the time, they can't do anything. You just win the game. If they're playing Orcust, most of the time you win the game. If they're not playing Impermanence, again, that's where you win the game. 1 rail car, and the reason we have 1 rail car is just because because we're actually playing Desires in this build, and in order for your urgent schedules, you want a backup plan, so it's just like to round out the numbers a little bit. That's why we're playing rail car. Alright, so more monsters. Yes, we are main decking Droll and Lockbird, and this is more of a meta call. If without Droll and Lockbird, we're kind of weak to Thunder Dragon. That's just the thing, and this is so good against a lot of decks. This is covering our ass against True Draco. This is helpful against This is helpful against the Subterror matchup. It's helpful against Sky Strikers. It's helpful against other things too, like Necros. Necros is just the bet against Droll and Lockbird, and that is a very important thing to keep in mind. This covers our weaknesses, and that's why we're main decking this. And we keep Ash in the side deck, so that'll kind of round it out. Yeah, not much Droll and Lockbird seen in this format, but it's for this deck, it wins you so many matchups when you draw it, that's why. Alright, so Kaiju Engine. Alright, I had one more Kaiju here. I forget where I put it. Alright, so this is actually 5 Kaiju. And I don't know what I did with my other one, so rest in peace of that Kaiju. But, oh, there it is. Alright, here's the other Kaiju. So we're running 5 Kaiju. This gives you a pretty good mathematical chance of opening it. Probably about 57% chance. The thing is, if you run 5, if you get a double, obviously this is rank 10. That's the engine. That's why I've kind of bounced around between 4 and 5, but I think 5 is a little bit better. That's just what I found. And Gameciel, pretty good. Gammas. And obviously, well, if your opponent's playing Guard Dragon and they get Gameciel, well, you can summon this guy, run over the Gameciel, and then you can actually make interesting plays with his effect. Like when a monster's targeted, you can negate the targeting effect, and then, well, a lot of times, like, they put Equimax on board, and, like, they try to negate this effect with Equimax, and then you actually get to run 2 of them. It's weird. The math is weird on it, but I'll stop talking about that, because maybe that's boring. Alright, so anyway, another MVP of the deck, 3 Urgent Schedule, you just need it, summon 2 on board, and, alright, so here's the part where a lot of people disagree with me. People are afraid to run 3 Desires in basically any deck. But trains, in this rogue strategy, you have to run 3. I'm very stubborn on this. It's like, in all the testing that I've done, I'd rather take the chance of seeing 2 in my hand than seeing none at all. And obviously it sucks when you draw 2, but, like, again, play the odds. You'll win more games than not if you have that extra draw too, and that's just so important. And then at the very least, sometimes you just get the bait. If you get the bait, and it ends up working out for you. In my testing, 3 has worked better than 2, because you don't have any other way of generating card advantage than basically Urgent Schedule and Pot of Desires. That's how you generate card advantage in this deck. So in my opinion, you gotta run 3. That's the only way to do it. Monster Reborn, excellent. Not excellent in most decks, but in this deck, it is absolutely insane. A lot of times you can target, Pegasus, Stampede, or you can target a machine monster, and then that'll trigger Daracrane. There's just so much you can do with Monster Reborn, and that's why it's insanely good. Alright. Twin Twisters for the back row, sometimes just necessary. And a lot of times you actually benefit from the discard, so a lot of times Twin Twisters is good. Not so good going first, so if you think you're going to go first, you might want to side it out. I'm actually playing MST in the side tube, so there's that. But sometimes you just really want to take care of the back row. Called by the Grave, 3, you gotta play it. Again, if this deck gets wrecked by Ghost Ogre, and you need your +1, so run 3. That's all I got to say. 2 Terraforming, standard. Alright, so I ended up... Thing about Revolving Switchyard, if you double draw Switchyard or like Terraforming, sometimes that just really sucks. Again, you do want to see as many level 10s as possible, but I don't know, I just played around, and 2 just feels comfortable, and I can't really justify it. You could play a 42 card variant and play 3 of them, but this is a 41 card deck, so do whatever you want to with that. Traps, Red Reboot, gotta have it. It's not a minus for you, but this gives you so many OTKs sometimes. And it's easily sided out, but again, in a deck like this, you need cards that just cover your ass. And so obviously you can do 3 Effect Veiler if you want to. The thing is, being an OTK strategy and going second, sometimes they get just the nastiest monster on the board. Like, there's still going to be builds where Morphage Goliath gets on the field, and that is really degenerate, and I wish I wish cards like that, floodgates on legs, just weren't in the game like that, to where they just make the game unplayable for one player. But again, at least we have $40 cards that take care of that type of thing. Thanks, Konami. But yeah, so that's why I'm playing Impermanence. It's just like the utility of that for a deck like this is just so insane. But if you take out that and do a Veiler, then this is a pretty good budget-friendly deck. Alright, so extra deck. Obviously, we're doing 2 Juggernaut Leap, insane card. Sometimes you need to get up and go again, so I put 2 in the deck. Gustav Max. Sometimes having 2 of these is just so awesome because sometimes you just win the game with burn damage alone. Not burn damage alone, but you get so much. Say they summon whatever that tuner is that costs half your life points. Well, they're down 4,000. Sometimes you can get the 2 of these boys on the board in one turn and win the game that way, and that's pretty nifty. Cleafort Genius, amazing tech option. Sometimes you need to negate a problem card. Cleafort Genius will do that for you. All right, so Violet Chimera. This is a super poly target. We put that in the side. Pentestag. Alright, Pentestag is sometimes an MVP. If your opponent like Scapegoats or something, Pentestag, it seals the victory for you. That's just the way it is. Abyss Dweller. I don't really use Abyss Dweller much. It's more of a niche. You can probably replace this with whatever you want if you think something else is better, because I rarely use that, but it's come in handy before. Last Warrior. Okay, so this card, this is why I even play Cyberstein. When it's destroy all your monsters on your side of the field except this card, if you go first and they don't have, if they don't have an answer to it, they're just done. As long as this card remains face up on the field, both players cannot summon. So sometimes you have to play the grind game and like set your hand traps and things like that, but I've won so many games with this card alone just by putting it on the board. It's just insane. Mega Fleet. This just covers the Cyber Dragon. This deck is insanely weak to Cyber Dragon, but that's just why we put Mega Fleet in the deck. That's just covering our ass with Mega Fleet. Mrs. Radiant. Mrs. Radiant can be really good. You can't attack with her often because, just because of your effects, they restrict what type of monster you can attack with. But this gives you a revival and gives you an attack boost, and it's a link. And all those things combined actually make it really solid in this deck. I put this down to 1, but this card helps you play the grind game a lot. It protects itself. More of a turn 1 type of card, but sometimes you can interact heavily with its quick effects there. Second Cyberstein target. Alright, so this is a level 10 Earth Machine. So if you get this on with Cyberstein, then your Derricrane will trigger, and then that'll go. That'll go and give you your OTK. Mud Dragon. Alright, these 2 guys, more super poly targets. If you don't know Starving Venom is insane. Again, can turn the tide of games. Mud Dragon, also insane. Mud Dragon you have to pay close attention to, because some decks, you can actually super poly them, but the weirdest decks you didn't think you could super poly, you can actually super poly with Mud Dragon. So yeah, that's just an interesting thing to keep in mind. A lot of decks that play light monsters, you can actually Mud Dragon them, and that's a pretty spicy play. All right, so we'll get to the side deck. 2 super poly, that's standard for your degenerate decks. All right, 2. Here, I should move this stuff out of the way. All right. We're actually playing 2 Space Typhoon. I actually have to buy Lancia. We're going to play 3 Lancia. 3 Lancia, again, it helps with those degenerate strategies. Helps you against the Thunder Dragons, and it helps you against Orcust. So we're playing 2 MST. More back row here. 2 Ash Blossom, great side card. So if we get into a deck that Droll doesn't work very well, then we just substitute that out. 1 Skill Drain. This is like... We need a couple going first cards, because, people are going to make you go first. So for going first, we put Skill Drain and Necro Valley. And that's not very much, but it helps. It honestly helps a lot. Because we are playing Terraforming. Necro Valley is essentially at 3 copies if you're playing Terraforming. If you know you can win the game with Necro Valley, you just search it. So, and then we have Skill Drain and Cyberstein. So those are all cards that really help you out going first. Again, this deck isn't always terrible going first. A lot of times, you can actually summon 5. You can summon 5 in one turn with trains, and that's the insane part about it. But I can go over how to do that right after this. And then we got 2 Sphere Mode. And again, we're missing the Lancia, but with the 3 Lancia in there, then we have it made. All right, so let me put this shit down. All right, so let me show you guys how to summon 5 in one turn. And it's going to show you why trains really aren't that bad going first. Again, like, it sucks to go first. You don't want to, but there are a couple plays you can do. Obviously, I showed you some that will cover your ass. But, all right, so we're going to... All right, say you open up Switchyard. And this, again, this is kind of a cheesy... A lot of times it's a 2-card combo, but it can be a 3-card combo, too. All right, so... Basically open up these 2 right here. Urgent Schedule. All right, so here's the play. All right, so you open up these 3. All right, you don't even have to open up these 3, but this is how you get the most insane, like, summon 5 play there is. And a lot of times this will end up working out. So you use Switchyard, activate it, send this to grave, search for another grave, send Derek Crane to grave, and search another Derek Crane. That way you have one in your hand, and then you set the urgent schedule. A lot of times your opponent will just, a lot of times they won't go after this, but sometimes they will. Alright, so once you have those in hand, then your opponent will probably put a monster on the board. So at some point in the turn, this is what you can do. Once they have a monster on board, or they don't one turn kill you and they go to the end phase and this all is good, then you flip up Urgent Schedule. So what you're going to do with the Urgent Schedule from your deck, you're going to probably, you want to put up Ruffian Railcar, and Express Bullet Train. Those are 2. And then a couple things will happen. Derek Crane, the Derek Crane that you search for in your hand will trigger, and then Revolving Switchyard will actually trigger. It can trigger off your opponent's turn to let you summon a level 4 from the deck. So, you have 3 on board, Revolving Switchyard, you'll get to summon Pegasus Stampede. Pegasus Stampede becomes a level 10, and effect activates. Then all of a sudden, you have this on board. So that is how you can summon 5. You can summon 5 trains in one turn, and basically almost within one chain, if that makes sense. So, again, there's still a really good play, even if you don't open up, like, if you just open up these 2 guys, you're not totally dead in the water for the first turn all the time. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I know it's long-winded, but I appreciate you guys sitting with me through this. So hopefully you upped the speed on the video. If you don't like how slow I talk, up the speed on that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the discussion. Let me know any different builds that you guys use. This has been fun. So peace.